Dear green friends, after these motivating presentations and also after the presentations from Pia Olsen and Mirella Holly, I think it would be wrong if I would now try to hold a programmatic speech. What I would rather do is share a few thoughts about our motto, be the change. I think the most important question that we are being asked today by citizens that have invested their trust into us in the past, or by citizens that are considering whether they should do that in the future, is whether they can trust that we will be the change that suits them. And they will not ask whether we're good in negotiating resolutions about describing change, and they will not ask whether we are good at analyzing the conditions for making change possible. They may not even be interested in the political discussions or the policy discussions that we invest so much into, because this is our way of acting and our way of life. Many average citizens still have a very keen understanding of where they can put their trust, even though they will not necessarily share our very differentiated. Whether we can be the force of change in Europe is an open question. Of course, we believe that we should be it, we can be it, but the European elections in May did not give a conclusive answer in that regard. There were other advocates of change going in different directions that fared better than us, unfortunately. So we have to be credible as an agent of change, but also differentiate ourselves from others as regards the direction. But the one thing that I believe will reverberate with everybody is whether they see the ambition, the engagement, and the power to affect change. I don't think that a lot of people put their trust into politicians or leaders from whatever background if they think they just talk change, or they talk interestingly, or they have nice ideas. It will be about the power to make a real difference on the ground where it counts. Whether we have that potential or not decides everything. And we have a lot of priorities. Usually, we Greens have too many priorities. Again here, when we started out discussing in the committee, we started with 3 priorities. I'm not sure, I lost count, but I think we're now at 7 or 8. But there's one thing that I believe will be essential for our credibility and we will be measured by whether we can affect change there, whether we can show the power to make change come true, and that will be the climate issue. I strongly believe that this is for our generation the core issue. We will be judged in the future by whether we were successful or whether we failed on that, because this is not only an environmental issue. This is an issue that has great implications for the social cohesion of our society. It has fundamental implications for our way of producing and consuming for our economies. It has great implications for the international relationships, for North-South relationships, for international peace. All the different struggles that we have led in the past, in a way, come together and are bound together when we try to tackle climate change. Of course, if we sell that in a narrow-minded way, people will not be very interested in listening. If we don't tell them, as Max reminded us this morning, that this is also about social justice, that there cannot be social justice if we let climate change run away and destroy the very basis of social cohesion, then why should they be interested if they feel the pain every day? If we cannot tell them that this is what we have to pursue in order to rebuild and transform our economies and make them sustainable and make them competitive for the future, why should they be listening if they are in need of a job? And all the other elements can be argued similarly. Now, what we should do, however, be also very clear. If we go about this with a business as usual approach, we will have all kinds of events, all kinds of discussions, all kinds of resolutions, all kinds of interjections in Parliament, all kinds of criticisms that we put to others who don't work as they should, but we may fall short of being the change. In the workshop that we had yesterday on the climate change issue and the campaign that we're trying to run, someone said from the participants, well, if we ask member states and if we ask the international community to pledge goals of what they want to contribute to fighting climate change, why don't we pledge goals? Individual Green parties, individual Green politicians, individual party organizations, why don't we pledge goals? If we do that, I found that a very interesting proposal. If we do that, we will not be able to allow ourselves to ignore whether we fail or win. And this is the kind of seriousness that I think we need. Because if there's anything that I found lacking in our communication, it was not the smart ideas. We had plenty of them. It was not the good politicians. We have plenty of them. It was not the sharp criticisms, always abundant among Greens. But it was maybe a lack of conviction that we are burning that hot, that we will not stop working, and maybe a little bit too much of being part of business as usual. And if we continue on that way, we will fail, we will not deliver. And this is why I say, over the next year, this is very specific, this is very concrete. Can we make change? We've been fighting defensive battles on the climate issue for many years now, since Copenhagen at least. And we've seen the majorities changing not to our advantage, just the opposite, even in the European Parliament. Can we turn that around? Conventional wisdom says, very difficult, I agree. But if we don't approach it with the goal of doing that, we will fail. We will have to build all kinds of alliances. We have to open up our arms. We talked, I think in passing, about the Movimento 5 Stelle in the European Parliament. They sit with the ugly UKIP party on the right wing. But on climate change issues, on energy efficiency, they have good views. We are, and the Green Group is, looking into how we can cooperate with them specifically on that kind of stuff. There are businesses that make their profit by going green. We can make alliances with them. There are trade unions that want to go green because they know this is about securing and creating new jobs. We have to open up our arms. One of the major mistakes that we should not make would be just keeping among ourselves. We're a lovely family and everybody contributes, but let's invite more to join us and let's be serious and be the change. Thank you.